Thank you for joining me for this session on probiotics. My name is Laura Hughes and I'm the Veterinary Nurse Development Manager here at Purina. So in today's session, we're going to cover a refresher on probiotics, the benefits of probiotics, how they work, what makes a good probiotic, choosing a product, and the potential applications for use of probiotics. So to start with, it's helpful to look at the official definition of a probiotic, and that is that a probiotic bacteria is a live microorganism that, when ingested in adequate amounts, has a beneficial effect on the host, especially intestinal function, helping to maintain or promote good health. So when we look at probiotic benefits and stability, they are species and strain specific. So if we look at this example below, it looks at Enterococcus lactis as an example and showing the 4 different strains. So as you can see here, only strain 2 is marked with a green tick, and that indicates that in this situation, that strain is specifically going to help with this case. Whereas you can see strains 1, 3 and 4 are all marked with a red cross, which shows that they would not support in this specific case. So the effect of probiotics is also dose dependent, and this can vary from one probiotic to the next. So actually, when we look at probiotics, it's really important to note that doses and the effect is only accurate if it's the correct dosing for that specific strain of probiotic. You couldn't just make an assumption that it would do the same job. So when we look at the effectiveness of multi-strain products within the world of probiotics compared to their individual components, the output is largely unknown. We know that for multi-strain products, the targeted benefits of each strain have to work together to be effective and to ensure that they are not competing against each other. This is known as those multi-strain probiotics having a symbiotic effect. And this is where sometimes single strain can be better, more beneficial because it's not competing against anything else. So the key messages when we look at the benefits of probiotics, first of all, we'll look at gastrointestinal benefits. So you get faster resolution and reduced incidence of diarrhea. You can have a reduction in clinical abnormalities linked to antibiotic use. You can get decreased flatulence in dogs. This is particularly important when you think about the dog whose owners are almost proud of how their dogs have an ability to clear a room. You can support good fecal quality. You can increase the beneficial bacteria and reduce pathobionts, which are microorganisms that exist peacefully in the microbiome. It can also help with constipation and megacolon. But more interestingly, beyond the gut. So actually about 70% of your immune cells are located in your gut, and therefore there's a much wider indication for the use of probiotics, looking to support immune stimulation, including better vaccine response and reduced infectious disease morbidity, supporting those with chronic kidney disease, positive effects on cognition and behavior, help with atopy, so those allergic skin conditions, and there's also a potential role in managing obesity. So when we look at probiotics, we need to look at the mechanism of action. We know it is diverse and not fully understood, but we do know that it includes competing with those pathogens, producing antimicrobial substances, enhancement of the epithelial barrier function, interaction with the immune cells and the receptors, production of neurotransmitters, plus many other proposed mechanisms of action. So when we look at the characteristics of a good probiotic strain, I split this into 4 areas. So firstly, safety, evaluated for its pathogenicity and should not transmit resistance genes or produce pathogenic factors. Stability, it must be stable and resistant to digestion by the gastric acid or intestinal enzymes. It needs to be effective, so should have a beneficial effect on the host species. and microbiome support, so should help to promote a normal and balanced gut microbiome. So, not all probiotics are equal, and so therefore you need to choose very carefully. It's important to think about the quality and accuracy, as this can vary very widely amongst commercial animal probiotics. In a study of 25 probiotics, only 15 out of the 25 had the bacterial numbers claimed. 4 of 15 had the specific label claims actually meeting those claims, and 2 of the 25 had an acceptable label accurately describing the contents. And this really emphasizes the importance of scrutinizing those product labels and the claims on the probiotics that you're considering using within practice. So, when you look at producing a probiotic, it requires a lot of very specialized processes. The production techniques and quality control are really critical to ensure the efficacy of this product. The same strain can behave very differently if it's produced under different conditions. And we need to consider the consistent genetics and the absence of pathogens. So we've got to do proper seed lot maintenance. We need to monitor for genetic drift and always require the analysis of that final product to ensure you're meeting the claims that you have put on your packaging. Now, these controlled production conditions are critical for probiotic effectiveness because they ensure the genetic stability, the viable fermentation, and the strain viability. And these production conditions also will influence the survival in the gastrointestinal tract, the cell structure and function, and the gene expression of that probiotic. So, when we look at advanced technologies like microencapsulation, this can improve the probiotic survival. So, probiotic production is highly specialized, and techniques such as microencapsulation enhance the survival of the probiotics, so the live bacteria within the stomach and the small intestines, and that helps to boost its overall effectiveness. So, if you have a look at the image on the screen, you will see that we've got the live bacteria in the center, and then we've got this layered capsule surrounding it, and that's effectively protecting that live bacteria whilst it works through the upper digestive tract where those harsh processes may otherwise be limiting its effectiveness. So this is kind of protecting it until that live bacteria gets to where it needs to do its job. So, when we think about the key criteria for selecting a probiotic product, we want to think about a few areas. So, choosing a reputable manufacturer, ensuring the number of live bacteria at the end of shelf life is guaranteed and effective for the target species. Look at the efficacy data for the specific strain and ideally the finished product. So, looking at the research that's been done. Confirm the product that is safe for dogs and cats and that it's been approved by the European Commission and the FSA. And consider the ease of administration and the palatability. There is no point trying to use a probiotic if it's going to be a real challenge or a battle to try and get the animal to take it on board. So when we look at the Purina Pro Plan probiotic, we know that there are lots of scenarios where this may be useful. So in animals with a reduced appetite, with loose stools, where you're using antibiotics where they don't discriminate good bacteria versus bad bacteria. If you've got animals that might be traveling or a little bit stressed, if they're going to a new home. And actually this product has been designed to help maintain digestive health and overall well-being during all of these times of stress and change. So we also have some research that talks about probiotics in chronic kidney disease, and that was specifically showing that using the Fortiflora can reduce uremic toxins. It can lower the plasma SDMA and plasma urea levels. It helps to maintain blood pressure, so we saw no increase seen at 60 days, unlike the control group. But additionally, we also saw microbiome support during the transition onto that renal diet was helpful for these patients. And Fortiflora is the only commercially available product that can be used as a palatability enhancer. So for those patients who are not wanting to be eating, it's a really good way of getting that diet acceptance from them. And it can be particularly helpful in those hyperexic patients that don't particularly want to eat anything, let alone the kidney diet. Other potential opportunities for probiotics are looking at things like probiotics in anxious behaviours in dogs. So, specifically, there has been research done using Bifidobacterium longum, BL999, which has shown to reduce anxious behaviours in dogs. After 6 weeks of supplementation, they saw benefits including reduced barking, reduced jumping, spinning, pacing. There was lower salivary cortisol levels and reduced heart rates in these patients. So that can be really beneficial as well. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. If you do have any questions, please reach out to us on the email address on screen right now, which is vettechline@purina.nestle.com. That is vettechline@purina.nestle.com. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and have a great day.